I think everyone at some point has had a collectible collection, or as I like to call it, an obsession. All the personal collections I've had usually ended up with me buying 2 or 3 things, then completely giving up because I realized that buying collectibles meant you have to actually buy them. For instance, the first collection I ever had were comic books, which is pretty random considering I've never read a single comic book in my entire life. It all started because I overheard someone bragging about their massive collection of superhero comics and action figures, and for some reason I felt like I need to take their entire personality and interests. So the very next day, I went to the closest comic book store to start my collection. When I walked inside, it was completely empty, which I always hate being in that situation where you're the only person in the store and you feel obligated to buy something. And for some reason, leaving without buying anything makes me feel so guilty even though I didn't do anything wrong. So I picked up the 2 nearest comic books and got out as soon as possible to escape that awkward silence. And when I looked at the total, I almost cried. If only I was born 65 years ago, I could have been a millionaire today. When I got home, I carefully opened the packaging and started flipping through the pages. So after only 1 day, that was the end of my comic book collection. And now I have 2 comic books stuffed in the bottom of my drawer that I'll probably never read. After that failure, I decided to go with a more affordable collection, which in other words meant my parents bought them for me. But this time, it was something I was actually genuinely interested in. Beanie Boos. I can't even begin to explain how much I was obsessed with these, and in case you didn't know what they are, they're basically stuffed animals with really huge eyes. Every time I went to the store, I would beg my parents to buy me one, and then 1 led to 5, then 10, then somehow I got 70 of them staring at me while I slept. And the worst thing was, right when I would get them, I would rip off the tags right away, which basically removes any ounce of value they had. Although it didn't really matter because they're worth nothing in comparison to Beanie Babies, which are basically the olden day versions of them that are, well, they're not as cute looking. Having a collection this big and important also meant that my parents could use it as leverage against me. Anytime I wouldn't do something, they would say, "I'll take away your Beanie Boos. Don't want to take out the trash? Don't want to wash the dishes? Don't want to take out your baby tooth?" That time they actually did take them away because I was so scared of pulling out my tooth, and they even told me that they gave all of them away to my cousins, and that filled me with so much rage that And after all that, it turned out they were hidden in my parents' room the whole entire time. Now you know why I have trust issues. But it didn't really matter because at the end of the day, I pretty much lost all of them. And if I wanted another one, I had to buy it myself from then on. Now I have to talk about other popular collectibles that I've seen a lot of people have, but seem like a lot of work. I mean, I do admit it's cool when you see pictures of people having their entire room stacked with one singular franchise, but I always wondered if they have extra security in case someone breaks in. I've had friends that just leave thousands of dollars worth of collectibles out in the open, but I guess it just depends on whether or not what you collect has actual worth in society. This reminds me of the time at school where there was a phase where everyone suddenly had Pokemon cards, and people would actually scam and steal them from each other. That's why the teachers banned them after a week, and why I kept mine safe, and now the Pokemon card trend spiked even higher, and I do admit that I've been tempted to use one of those vending machines where you can get card packs from, but they're always sold out, which is probably a good thing after seeing people physically attack each other for them. Another popular collectible is coins, which makes sense because they actually have monetary value and look pretty cool if you get super rare ones. I had a phase where I collected pennies that I found around my house and on the ground, all in a huge vase, and I literally filled it up so much that I couldn't even pick it up. Sadly, in desperate times, I had to exchange them all, which wasn't a lot because they were pennies, but it was all for an important cause. This next one's not really an official collectible I had, more of a thing I wanted because anything that was colorful, bright, and shiny, I was like, yep, this is mine now. And that was stickers. But the thing about me was that whenever I got new stickers, I felt like I need to save them for the perfect occasion, which ended up being never. And now the perfect moment is far gone because all of them got water damage, and I also don't think a scarily human looking cow sticker would look good on anything. I also knew some people who had card deck collections, and this particularly interested me because I was also amazing at magic tricks. Is this your card? No. Oh, is it this one? No. This one? So every time I went to a store or a gift shop, I would find as many different card decks as I could, and I remember the coolest one I ever got was this transparent one that could also glow in the dark. I was so hyped, I showed it to every one of my friends. This was the furthest I've gotten in any of my collections, and I did pretty well. I got to like 10 of them. Then one day I looked at my shelf and realized, wow, this is so useless. And so I chucked it to the bottom of my drawer to add it to my stash of failed collections. Wait a minute. For all these years, I've been trying to get a cool collection that didn't fail, and all this time I've had a whole collection of failed collectibles. Wow, I'm so dedicated.